Okay, so I'm not letting you out. So can everyone see me okay? Hopefully yes. I'm just going to try putting the light on so there's a bit more light. Okay, so let's begin sitting up. So we're gonna focus today on balancing, as I put in the message. So just sit up nice and tall and straight, and I'll talk to you a little bit about balancing as we sit nice and tall. So just get yourself nice and grounded in whatever comfortable position sitting means for you. So that might mean with your legs crossed, but you might prefer to have your legs stretched out. You might prefer to sit on a chair. Just making sure that your back is nice and upright, the head is balanced nice and squarely on top of your spine. Shoulders are more or less above your hips, doesn't have to be exact, but that's a good kind of alignment to think about. And with the shoulders relaxed. So not hunched up shoulders, just relax them down. Just make a few little movements with the shoulders if you like, just to make sure that they're relaxed. Resting your hands somewhat comfortably, perhaps resting your hands on your thighs, or even bringing your hands into chin mudra, finger and thumb, index finger and thumb together with the other three fingers extended. You might prefer to rest your hands in your lap in dhyana mudra, which is with the left hand on top, thumb tips together. So whatever one of those works nicely for you, just resting your hands is also perfectly fine. I actually really like this personally myself. And just sitting still for a moment, closing the eyes, and just bringing your awareness to how you're feeling this morning. How you're feeling physically, how you're feeling mentally, whether the mind is whizzing around with lots of different thoughts, whether it's a bit slow, whether it's kind of somewhere in between, relaxed and easy. And also notice how you're feeling emotionally this morning. What is the most prominent emotions that are happening for you right now? Usually there's more than one. So just observing, noticing what it is for you. And then beginning to tune into your breath. And if you observed in your body that there's any tight spots, any tension anywhere, then just use your exhale to gently release that. Know that as you inhale, you're bringing in clean, fresh energy, prana. And as you exhale, you're letting go, releasing out any negativity, any worries or doubts, any tenseness or tightness. And so as you're doing that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about balancing and why it's important for us to practice the balancing postures. When we practice the balancing postures, we really need to ground ourselves. This is a very important part. If you're not particularly grounded, then it's much harder to balance. And we also need to focus or concentrate. You may find in your balance practice, some days it's a lot easier to balance than others. And probably if you observe the state of your mind in those times when it's harder to balance, you will find that the mind is in some way disturbed. It's not as relaxed as in those moments when you find it easier to balance. So that's quite an important factor to remember. So when we concentrate the mind, this helps to slow it down also, because when we put our focus into one particular thing, or even on 2 or 3 different things, then it's much easier to take it away from that worry, the things that are going on, the busyness, if you like, of the mind. And so obviously, the same with most things in yoga, it's a two-way street. So if your mind is very busy, it's harder to balance. But if you take your time to focus and balance, then you'll help to calm the mind down. And in the same way, if your mind is very calm, then you'll find it easier to balance. So you can work in both ways. So if you're feeling particularly crazy in the mind, try doing some balancing postures. Really can help you to slow the mind down. Okay, so just bring your hands together in front of your heart now, and let's take a moment to make a positive intention for ourselves. Maybe for the class, maybe for your whole day, maybe for the next few days ahead of you, or the week. Just however long you would like to make your intention for. And then just make your intention, repeat it to yourself a few times mentally. And then gently bow your chin to your chest to acknowledge that intention and to make a silent promise to yourself to work with it throughout whatever amount of time you've decided to work with it for. And then you're going to bring your head back on top of the spine, relax your arms. And we're just going to start by, I'm just going to turn my phone off silent, so just do a little bing. So we're just going to start with some joint mobilizations. I always like to start with a bit of joint mobilization. So just resting your hands on your legs again, and as you inhale, just bringing your chin up towards the sky. And as you exhale, bringing the chin down towards the chest. Try not to move the body, just the head and neck. Just inhaling out, exhaling down, and observing the sensations in the front and the back of the neck as it moves in between one position and the other. And we'll do one more of these. And then bringing the head back to the center so it's on line with your spine. And now turning to look behind you. So just turning the head as far as you can, as if you want to look behind you. But again, try not to move the shoulders or the chest, just the head and neck. You can just let your breath flow with the rhythm. So just do one more each way. And then bring your head back to center, and then let your head drop down towards one side and bring that side arm onto the side of your head. And then we're just going to stretch the arm out to the side, away, and you'll feel a nice stretch going up from your shoulder, up through the neck. You're just taking a few breaths there. And then move your arm behind you, and notice how that stretch feels a little different when you take your hands behind you, your arm behind you. Take a few breaths there. And then you can bring your arm forwards. And again, just notice how that works a little bit of a different muscle in your neck. And then you can release that side, pause for a moment in the center, and take it over to the other side, placing your hands on the side of the head. Just resting so there's a bit of weight, taking your arm now out to the side, first of all. Observing the stretch that happens there through the side of the neck. Just breathing, taking a few gentle breaths, and then moving the hand behind you, your arm behind you. Noticing the change. And then bringing the arm and hands in front of you, and again, just observing the change there. And then releasing, move back to the center. So then bringing your fingertips onto your shoulders, and as you inhale, lifting the elbows up towards the sky, and as you exhale, bringing your arms back and down. Inhaling to lift up, and exhaling to come down. Let's do a few more of these. And you can kind of, the back will arch a little bit perhaps as you bring your arms back, and you can round the back a little bit as it comes forward. So just really accentuate the movement through the shoulders into the spine. As you come back, squeezing those shoulder blades towards each other, and as you come forward, they separate apart. And do one more of these, one more full circle, and then relax the arms down. Maybe give the shoulders a little shake out at this point. So then we're going to take the arms up above the head, inhale. And as we exhale, twisting to one side, one hand behind you, the opposite hand onto the knee, whichever way you're twisting. And then inhaling, stretching back to the center, arms up. And exhaling, moving to the other side. Inhaling to stretch the arms up. Exhaling back to the first side. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling to the second side. One more time each side, inhaling to come up. Exhaling to twist. Inhaling up. And twisting the other way. And then inhaling up. And exhaling, releasing the hands back down to the floor. So then we're just going to place the hands in front of us, lengthen through the spine, take a nice deep breath, and as you exhale, just allow your body to come forward. You can kind of creep your hands forward as you go. Keep pressing those sit bones into the floor as you lengthen through your spine. You don't need to reach forward with your hands, you can just let them creep forwards naturally, and then just let yourself go down towards the floor, however far down you get, and that might be right up here, and that's totally great. So wherever you are with this, you just relax into it. And then walking your hands back up, sitting up tall, bring your hands behind you, roll your shoulders back, squeeze your shoulder blades, and as you inhale, lift your heart towards the sky. So let your hands really press into the floor. Lifting the heart up, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Keep lengthening your neck, especially the back of the neck. Don't let the back of the neck get crunched. And then you can release that and stretch out your legs. So give your legs a little shake out. And we're going to come up into standing. So as we're doing focus on balance, we're going to do the hip movements while balancing. So this is really about getting the joint mobilization in the hip. So if you want to, then please feel free to have a wall or hang onto a chair next to you to do these hip rotations. But if you want to start your balancing practice already, find something to focus on the wall ahead of you, and bring your knee up. You can place perhaps your hands on your hips, or one on your hip and one on the wall if you want to, and just begin to make big circles with your hips. So you can imagine drawing a circle with your knee. And then we're going to go back the other way. And then put that leg down, pause for a moment in the center, shift your weight to the other side, and begin with the rotations on the other side. Back the other way. You can also put your foot down in between each rotation for a little bit of extra balance if you'd like to do that. And then relax that foot down. Relax the arms. Maybe shake out the arms. So bring your legs together and bend your knees. And then put your hands on your knees. And we're just going to make circles with the knees, just to warm up the knees a little bit. The knees quite often get forgotten. But the knees are a very delicate joint, so it's good to make attention to our knees. And bringing them the other way. And then because balancing is really a lot about the feet, let's put a little bit of focus down into our feet. So just bring one foot so that you're on the ball of your foot, so you probably bend your knee, and just circle around the ball of your foot. So, and as you're doing this, you'll get movement in the ankle joint, in the knee joint, in the hip joint. So it's quite a nice little warm up for all the joints in the leg. Plus the fact that you're really getting a bit of stretch across the sole of the foot. And then you can go back the other way. And then move yourself to the other foot. So our feet are designed to walk barefoot. There's 26 bones in our feet, in each one. And all those little bones are designed to move little by little, tiny little amounts. And what this does, what effect it has on the rest of the body is it makes little movements in the ankle, in the knee, in the hip, and that up through the spine. Go back the other way with your foot rotations. And when that doesn't happen, because we work on solid surfaces and hard-soled shoes, then we miss out on those tiny little movements, and this sort of lubricates a little bit. The little bit of movement helps to keep the joints lubricated. So it's really important to keep doing this sort of thing with the foot, to keep those bones moving, or walking on uneven surfaces, the beach or ground where the surface is uneven, like grass. Really, really nice thing to do for your feet. So now we're going to bring your feet parallel, more or less. And as you inhale, just raise up on your toes. And as you exhale, come down. And then you can come onto your heels, a bit of balance. And then back onto the toes. So just in your own time, going onto the heels and onto the toes. So you might find it's easier on your heels or easier on your toes. I find it easier on my toes than my heels. Just go in between the two. So just helping to strengthen our legs for the balances. And then we're going to do a little bit of walking. So come up onto your toes and you can just walk around a little bit on your toes. And if this is uncomfortable, you can go much lower. Just have the heels a little bit. But if you can, come up as high as you can onto your toes. This, by the way, helps to relax the upper body, the shoulders, the neck. So if you're feeling a bit tense in your neck and shoulders anytime, try walking around on your tiptoes. So now we're going to take it down to the heels. So walking on the heels now. And this helps to release tension in your low back. So if your low back's aching, then you can try walking around on your heels. Feels a little bit weird, but quite good fun. So come back to your mat, wherever you are, and just ground your feet. And now take a moment to observe your feet. Notice how your feet are feeling after that. Can you feel the soles of your feet? Can you feel your calf muscles? So the first balance we're going to do is quite a simple balance. We've just been on our toes anyway. So interlock your fingers and turn your palms down towards the floor. And as you inhale, we're going to lift up onto the toes, lifting the heels and raising the arms above the head. So press firmly into the ground as you reach towards the sky. And then just try to maintain this balance, breathing easily. Just pressing your feet down. And again, you don't have to lift the heels really high off the floor. You can just lift them up a little bit. Just go with whatever's working for you. And then exhale and come down, relaxing the arms down. So we're going to go up and down and into a side stretch. So as we come up, we're going to do the same. As we come down and go into a side stretch, we're going to lower the heels back to the floor. So we're working the soles of the feet as well. So once more, turn the palms towards the floor. Inhaling, coming up onto the toes. Stretching for a moment here. Now, as you exhale, lower the heels and stretch over to one side. Inhale to come back to the center, lifting the heels. And exhaling, lowering the heels and stretching over to the other side. So if this gets tough on your arms or your shoulders, inhale back to the center, lift. Exhale, go to the other side. Then please feel free to lower your arms. Your shoulders or arms get tight. Inhale back to the center. Exhale, lower and slide to the side. One more time to the center. Exhale one more time to the first side. Last time to the center. Exhale to the other side. Come back to the center, and you don't need to come up onto your heels this time if you don't want to. Release your arms down and give your arms a little shake out. Okay, so to begin with, we're going to work on 3 postures. The tree pose, Vrikshasana. We're going to work on Natarajasana, the cosmic dancer pose. And we're going to work on Virabhadrasana 3, the warrior 3 pose. So we're going to work with those 3 postures. So we're just going to do those 3 postures just on the floor. And we're not going to take too much time with them because we're going to then do them balancing on something and then try them again afterwards. So just ground yourself, and we'll move first of all into the tree pose. So wherever your tree pose is, whether it's down at the ankle or some up in the middle of the groin or somewhere in between, find your tree pose. Take your arms up or at your heart or out to the sides, and just take a breath or 2 here, just noticing how this is feeling for you, how balanced you are. And then release that side, and we'll do the other side. So like I say, we're not going to stay very long in these postures, just to notice where we are with them. We're doing the other side, just coming out, taking a couple of breaths. And noticing perhaps one side feels easier than the other, and coming down with that one. So the second one is Natarajasana, the cosmic dancer pose. So bending your foot, rubbing your ankle. You can do this with a strap if you want to, with a strap around your ankle. Raise the opposite hand. And you're already here now in the posture. If you want to take it further, you can press your foot back into your hand and slowly take the body towards the floor. Take a couple of breaths here. Notice how steady you are. Come back out. And we'll do the other side. Just gently, if you want to come into this version of it, you can. If you want to stay with just upright version, you can with that as well. And come out slowly. And then the last one is the warrior 3. So you can, sometimes we go from warrior 1, but today we just go from the center of the mat. So just step 1 foot back, mind the cat, and stretch the arms up. Try, if you can, to get your body to sort of be in line with the leg. And then just slowly tilt yourself towards that kind of T shape. But it doesn't matter if your T's cross like this or cross like parallel. Take a few moments to notice how you're feeling, and the arms can be out to the side or back towards the feet. And then come out slowly and do the same on the other side. Just kick the leg back slightly, lean forward so your leg and your body are in line with each other, and slowly come into. And then come back out. So those are the 3 balance postures that we're going to work with now. So whatever uneven surface you've got. So I've got a block here, but this block for me is not actually particularly squidgy. So if you've got a block and it's a bit squidgy, that matters. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make something a bit harder for me. So I'm going to get this cushion and I'm going to put it on top of the block. So it's a little bit more unstable. I also have, if any of you have a balance board, it's really good fun to try balancing on this. But let me tell you, you need to put your foot right in the centre. Because if you put your foot to one side, you won't do it. So if you have a balance board, you can put your foot right in the centre. So decide what side you're going to start on. And before we even try going into one of those postures, we're just going to play around and see how this is working. So get on your wobbly surface, whatever it might be, and just take the time to push yourself with your balance. And don't worry if you fall off. In fact, if you fall off, that means you're really trying hard, so well done. So just take time to move yourself around in whatever way, just finding where your balance comes to. Now, when we're moving around like this, it's much harder to find a focal point. So maybe try and get your focal point somewhere perhaps more or less on the floor that you can kind of hold most of the time. Focus on your breath. If you haven't tried the other leg yet, try the other leg. Whoa. And see if you can hold your balance, even when you sort of nearly come out of balance, see if you can hold it. Okay, so now you know more or less where your limitations are with your balance. So the first one we're going to do is the tree pose. So again, and you will probably know that you have one side that's easier to balance on than the other. And if you want, you can choose to start on your challenging side, or you can choose to start on your easier side, on the side that you find best to balance on. So it's up to you. I'm actually going to start on my easy side, on the side that I feel more stable. So get on your wobbly block or whatever it is you have. Find your concentration point, a visual concentration point. Ground yourself firmly, even though you're on a wobbly surface, so that's going to be harder to find yourself grounded. And then slowly bring your foot into your tree position, whatever that might be for you. Try to keep your visual focal point. You can take an internal focal point as your breath. And from there, find a position for your arms, which might be out to the sides, like I've got, or it might be right up above your head with the palms together. You might prefer to keep your hands down in front of your heart, or even just out to the sides, lower down. So wherever you are with this, just notice all the work that your foot is really having to do to keep you balanced, and how much the concentration is involved. So maybe let your mind go off to thinking and see what happens with your balance. When I try looking at the screen or thinking about what I'm going to say next, my balance, I lose my balance. So come off for a moment and get ready to do the other side. So if you chose to do the harder side, you're going to find this side easy, so that's nice. If, like me, you chose the easy side, you're going to be finding this side a bit harder, probably. So come, find your focal point, find your groundedness, really drop your weight down into your wobbly surface, into your foot, and bring your other foot into position. And then find a place for your arms and just try to come to as much stillness as possible. But remember, with this wobbly surface, you're going to be wobbling around, and that's fine. And then you can release that. So then we're going to do the second posture, Natarajasana, on the block again. So this time I'm actually going to try starting on my more challenging side. So take your time with it, don't rush this. This is really important, because if you rush it, you won't have your concentration. So really make time to find a good focal point, to really get yourself grounded before you start. So perhaps the first thing you can do is get yourself grounded. The knee, the standing leg knee, I like to leave a little bit soft. I don't like to rigidly stretch into my leg, because for me it feels like it then works as like a sort of shock absorber, and it works a lot better. So just find your groundedness. When you're ready, bring your foot up. If this is really difficult for you to grab your foot, you can perhaps just lift the foot up and have your hand on your hip. Find a way through, whatever works for you. Lift the opposite arm and pause here for a moment. Take a few breaths to find your way with this one. And then if you want to, you can then start to extend back with the leg and slowly bring the chest forwards. So what's important is to really find a strong connection between your foot, your hands, and your body, your leg, your arm, your body. It's like a really strong connection. So you're really feeling strong in that bit where you're holding. If you're not holding it, just imagine reaching your hand back for the foot and kind of imagine that link, imagine that connection, even if you can't actually get the foot. So when you're ready, you can come out and take it to the other side. So take your time, remember. So this is the connection that I'm talking about. When you press your foot into your hand, you can then feel a strong connection between the leg, the arm, the back, everything's really strong, it's really firm. And then when you have that firmness, that strength, that's when you can start taking the chest towards the floor and lifting the leg up. On your nice wobbly surface. And if you sort of wobble off the block, don't worry, no problem at all. So you can come down. I sort of let go a little bit rapidly there, but try and come out with control. So the last one is the warrior pose. So I'm going to try with my easier side this time. So again, just kick that leg, the one you're going to lift, just kick it back slightly and bring your body so that it's in line with that leg. You can have your arms out to the sides, stretch back towards your feet, stretch up above your head. This is personal choice. You can find what works for your shoulders, your arms, your balance. Start to move yourself into the warrior 3 pose. Try to hold it for a few breaths. And then coming out, woo, coming out with control. Taking a moment and then stepping back on with the other foot. So remember, take your time. If you want to take longer than what I'm giving you, feel free just to take longer, that's fine. So find your groundedness, find your balance, align your body and your legs so it's as if they're one line, and then start to slowly move. And we always try to move the body and the leg as one, so it's as if you're a seesaw and your standing legs the pivot, and the body and the leg are the sort of bit that you sit on. So you try and move it. So whatever happens, if the leg moves, the body moves with it. If the body moves, the leg moves with it. Just breathing, taking a few breaths. And whenever you're ready, slowly coming back out of that. Good. Okay, so you can put your wobbly self aside for a moment. So now we're going to come back to those three postures on the floor. The idea, hopefully, being is that you will feel much more grounded now that you're not on that wobbly surface. And hopefully that will help you with your balance and to really feel that groundedness that you have your concentration. So again, start on whichever side you want to start on. Find your groundedness, shift your weight to whichever side you want to start on. Ground yourself nice and firmly, find that fixed point of concentration and slowly bring your leg up for the tree pose, the first posture. So bringing it up, bringing the leg into position wherever you want that to be. Taking your arms again into whatever position, and you can try changing the positions of your arms. Bringing the hands together, taking them out to the side, above your head. You can do all three. But really feel nice and firm, steady and grounded. And notice, how does this feel in comparison to when you did it at the beginning of the class, before we did it on the wobbly surface? Just breathe through any wobbles. Breathe through any little blip in concentration. And then slowly release the posture. I always like to take a moment on both feet. Before I swap myself to the other side, I like to ground myself firmly on both feet. And then when I feel grounded on both foot, shift my weight over. Take your time, bring the other foot up. Perhaps on this side you'd like to try a different position with the arms, or perhaps you did a three, which you can go through again. Just breathing through those wobbles. Keeping your mind fixed on the point of concentration, your visual point. Maybe you have an inner focus as well, perhaps your breath or a point in your body. It could be your navel or your third eye or your foot on the ground. When you're ready, release the pose. Take a moment again to ground yourself. And then we're going to come into Natarajasana. Bringing the foot behind you. Bring the heel as much towards the buttock as you can to begin with, and try and bring your lifted knee back in line with your other knee. And raise the opposite hand. So at this point, you're in the balance already, so you can choose to stay here, or you can choose to extend your leg behind you, making that strong connection between arm, leg, and body, and gently tipping your body towards the floor, so your chest towards the floor. I noticed sometimes what happened to me just then is I just tried a little bit too hard to push my leg back, and it really wobbled me. So you have to find a balance between where your limit is and pushing yourself over it. And then you just kind of step back and forward from very slightly from your limit so you can hold the posture comfortably. Coming out nice and slow. Grounding on both feet. Taking the other leg. Bringing the arm up. Noticing, is this your good leg? Is this your bad leg? Or should we take good and bad? Your easier or more challenging leg? Stretching the leg out if you want to. Bringing the chest towards the floor. Notice also what's happening with your standing foot. For me, very often my weight goes to the outside of my edge of my foot, so I have to really focus to keep my big toe side of my foot grounded, and that really helps me to stay grounded, to stay balanced. So just noticing what your tendencies are and just adjusting them to make them work better for you. So you can come out of that posture. And then we'll do the last one, the warrior 3 pose. So just stretch the leg back, sorry Bob. Lean forward a little bit so that you're in line with your leg. You can keep your hands on your hips, out to the sides, above the head, stretch back towards the feet, whatever suits you. And then just start to gently tilt. Spreading out those toes, grounding the ball of the foot, grounding the heel, finding your focal point. Obviously with these ones, these balances that you need to move with, the focal point is a little harder because your point of vision is moving. Driving back into your back leg, engaging your buttock and your thigh and your back leg to keep it nice and lifted, stretching down into your foot. And then slowly releasing. Taking the time to stretch the other leg back. Leaning forwards, aligning your leg and your body. And when you're ready, coming into the balance on the other side. Remember, give the buttock and the thigh a squeeze on your lifted leg. Help you lift. Keep it holding there. Stretch into your foot. Spreading out your foot that you're standing on, your toes, all of your foot, pressing your heel into the floor. And then when you're ready, slowly releasing. Take a moment on both feet. Stand tall. Just observe what's going on in your body. And then we're going to take a moment to shake the body out. So just shake out a leg, shake out the other leg. Just to shake out the arms. Maybe bounce the knees, bounce the elbows, shake the head. Just give yourself a real good shake out, just to get the energy moving. Sometimes when we're trying really hard, the energy kind of gets a bit stuck. So just shake it all out. And then hopefully you'll be ready for the next little challenge I have for you. So the next little challenge is to combine those 3 balance postures. So from tree pose to cosmic dancer, method of Dasam, to warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. We're going to move in between those three. And after Warrior 3, if you like, you can come back into Vrikshasana. If you've still got some balance left in you, then you can come back. So I'll just demo it for you so that you know where we're going with it, and then it will be lots easier for you doing it rather than me trying to describe it while you're actually in it and trying to do it. I'm going to face to the side so that it's kind of easier to see. Try not to kick my cat. And to demo, I'm going to do it on my easy side, just because I'm less likely to be wobbling around. So you get yourself into your tree pose first of all, and I'm just going to go through it quickly so that we don't waste too much time. So you're going to take at least 3 breaths in each pose, okay? But I'm not. And then to release, try not to release with the foot. So take your foot into Natarajasa, move it into the pose. And if you're not doing this without the foot, you holding the foot, you can just be like this. And then we're going to move from that into the warrior. So again, really engage the buttock and the thigh. And if you like, you can come back into tree pose. And then all the way back to the floor. So that's the sequence, more or less how you can do it. You can find your way through it. Try to take at least 3 breaths once you're solid in the pose. So get yourself into the pose. Find where you're going to be with your arms or whatever. Ground yourself, take 3 deep breaths, and then move on to the next one. Okay? So starting with your tree pose. If of course you want to hold longer for 3 breaths, you're welcome to. When you're ready, you can move yourself to Natarajasa, the bottom of dancer, taking your time. When you're in the fullest version of your pose that you want to be, do your 3 breaths. And when you're ready, you can take it into the final one, the Warrior 3. And when you finish, you can either just bring your foot to the floor, or if you want, you can go into tree pose once more. Take a moment to ground yourself. When you come to the end, just take a few moments, perhaps even another 3 breaths, to ground yourself on both your feet, nice and firmly. And then when you're ready, start on the other side. Take your time, there's no rush, this is your practice. And when you finish, once more, just ground yourself in Tadasana. Take a moment to observe, to breathe easily, perhaps shaking out a little, whatever feels nice, wriggling the knees, wriggling your arms. So then just widen your legs a little, so they're a bit wider than your hips. We're going to do a nice forward fold, bend at the knees, and put your hands on your hips. So have your knees bent because this will really help to neutralize the lower back. You won't go arching or bending too much. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the front of the body. And as you exhale, push your hips back as you fold forwards and just fold yourself down. You can let your arms just slide down towards your feet and just really softly fold forward. So legs, feet are wide, knees are bent, body is just softly folding towards the floor. Taking a few nice deep breaths here. And maybe, if you like, just even moving and wriggling your spine a little, keeping your feet really grounded. And you just undulate your spine a little, perhaps moving a little side to side. And even imagine making circular movements with the ribs as we're going round a sort of tube. Just noticing what feels good. And then take a moment now to really engage your abdomen, engage your buttocks. And as you inhale, lift yourself back up with a straight back, so climbing up, flat back, lifting all the way up, pressing your feet into the floor as you come up to standing. Roll your shoulder blades back. You can straighten your knees at this point, and then roll your shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, interlock your fingers, and again, bend your knees a little. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and lift your arms up behind you. And then as you exhale, fold yourself forward and down, and this time lift your arms up high behind you as you come down. Maybe this time you'd like to stretch out your neck. You can shake your head no, you can nod your head yes. And just all the while keep squeezing those shoulder blades together. Nice deep breaths. And then again, to come up, really pressing your feet into the floor, engaging the buttocks, engaging your abdomen, and lifting yourself back up to standing. Coming up with a nice straight back. Keep your shoulder blades coming together, arms lifted until you're all the way up. And then you can gently relax your arms, straighten the knees, perhaps shake out your arms if that feels nice. Give yourself a little shake out in whatever way feels good. Okay, so we're going to continue with balance, but we're going to do it in some standing postures. So we're going to stand at the front of the mat. So you've got space behind you. And what we're going to do is we're going to come into, not into tree pose, you're just going to lift your knee up, and we're going to step it back into the warrior one pose. So if you remember the warrior one pose, the back foot is sort of in line, your hips are still facing to the front, the back foot's at a slight angle, but it's still kind of facing forwards. It's not out to the sides, it's still facing forward. So that helps to keep the hips in the front. So we're going to step into that from balancing. So ground your feet nice and firmly, find your focal point, and just raise your knee up as high as you can towards your chest. What you do with your arms is completely up to you. At this point, don't worry about it, just have them so that they're helping you to balance. And then step your leg back with as much control as you can. Step it back as far as it feels comfortable. The foot goes out to the side, ground your heel, engage your buttocks, the front knee bends so it's above the ankle, And as you inhale now, reach your arms towards the sky. If that doesn't work for you, you can just keep them at your heart. Really firmly pressing now this back leg into the floor. Nice deep breath. Pull in with your abdomen. Squeeze with your buttock. Nice and firm, strong pose. So using all the little tricks and things that we learned when we were doing those for that other practice. So now we're going to come back to that position with the knee towards the chest. And you can lower the arms, use them to help you balance. You bring your knee to your chest. And this time we're going to take it back into warrior two. So this time we're going to open out to the side. Put the foot back. The toes will now face the side of the mat. Chest will face the side of the mat, the long side of the mat. Open the arms out to the sides. Gaze down the arm that's above your bent leg. And again, ground yourself nice and firmly. Make any adjustments that you want to make with your legs if it didn't come down exactly where it feels right for you. Check in with your shoulders, relax them. And then we're going to lift the arm that's above your bent knee, lift it up as you inhale. The other one goes back to rest on your leg, or even bringing your hand right onto your back. Stretch through both sides of your body, breathing nice and deep, as deeply as you can. You might find in this posture it's a little bit more restricted because you're pulling at the front of the belly, so it's not so easy to breathe quite so deeply into the belly. So just notice where your breathing goes deep. And then exhale, bring this lifted arm and rest it gently on your thigh. And now open your chest up towards the sky, bring your top arm up, reach it up. And then if you can reach the arm right over your head. And then really press your back foot into the floor as you reach towards the sky with the top arm. And here at this point, if you like, you can move your hand that's on your thigh towards the floor. Breathing. And it doesn't really matter if you keep your let your arm right up on your thigh, or you only get halfway down to the floor. It's fine. Again, what is comfortable for you. And then using your top arm now as if you're pulling yourself up. Inhale, coming back up into that warrior two pose. And we're going to try and step back into that knee to the chest pose. So just turn yourself slightly, shift your weight, and bring your knee back up. And then bring it back down. Ground yourself on the floor. Give yourself a little shake out. And then of course we're going to do it on the other side. I'm going to stand the other end of the mat so that I'm going to put my back to you. So starting with your other foot, first of all the warrior one. So bringing the knee up, finding where you are most balanced with your arms. Stepping it back, the foot faces forward still but is at a slight angle. Front knee bends, inhale, stretch the arms up, warrior one. Nice deep breaths. And then when you're ready, coming back to that knee to the chest position. Lifting up tall. Bringing the leg down, pausing for a moment. And then raising the knee again. Moving it out to warrior two this time. So turning to the side, slightly stepping that leg up, grounding it down, adjusting as necessary. Stretch your arms out to the sides, knees above the ankle, front knees above the ankle, chest to the long side of the mat. Gazing down the arms above your bent knee. Nice deep breaths. Now inhaling, lifting the arm up, that's above your bent leg, stretching into reverse warrior. Really firm, strong legs, firmly grounded. Exhaling, bringing your lifted arm and resting it lightly on your thigh. Stretch the arm up towards the sky, really reach and stretch, turning your chest up, and then over the head with the arm. Keep still really focusing on grounding into your back foot, that's nice and strong. And if you want to, taking your hand down towards the floor. Where you look, it depends on how your neck feels. You might want to look towards your hand, you might want to look up under your armpit, you might want to stay looking to the side. Using your top arm as a kind of lever, inhale, draw yourself up with the arms back into warrior two pose. And then slowly shift yourself back into that knee to chest pose. With as much control as you can. And then lowering it down. And again, just taking a moment to move in whatever way feels good. So we're just going to take it down to the floor now and give the back a little stretch. So as you inhale, take your arms up above your head. And as you exhale, fold yourself forwards and down into a forward fold. Take hold of wherever you easily reach. You might be able to touch the floor, but you might only reach your knees, so it doesn't really matter. Inhale and lift up halfway, lengthen forwards into the crown of the head, lengthen all the way through the spine. Exhale and fold back down towards your legs. And this time, bend your knees as much as you need to get your hands on the floor, and step your legs or walk your legs back so that you're in a down dog position. And ground your hands, spread your fingers out. Start to just gently pedal out the legs, just easing the legs. And then after a while, you can come to stillness. Rounding your heels towards the floor, lifting your hips towards the sky. Hands are nice and rounded. Shoulder blades are spread. You can just gently lift the outer edges of your upper arms. Nice deep breaths. And then you can bring your knees down to the floor. Let yourself sink back into child pose, and if child pose is not good for your knees or for any other reason, you can go onto your back for this. Bring your forehead to the floor through the child pose. You might like to slide your hands back by your feet for full child pose. And just really let go at this point, let go completely. If you need to as well, if you'd like to, you can place a block or a pillow underneath your forehead. That might be really nice. Just make sure that you are completely relaxed. And just try to breathe and really let go now. You've really worked hard in this class. It's a strong practice going through all those balances. So just reflect on how those balancing postures went for you. and how perhaps you could, in what areas you can make them better, and what areas that you did really well in, what areas are going really well. So just take a moment while you're relaxing in child pose to really reflect on how that class felt for you and what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, anything like that. And then you can come up slowly now and just as easily and gently as you can turn yourself so that you're lying on your back. We're going to go into relaxation now. So if you want to cover yourself with a blanket, if you want to have a pillow under your head or an eye bag over your eyes, get yourself prepared for complete relaxation now. Just make any adjustments. Perhaps you might like to maintain the knees bent with the feet flat on the floor, maybe even letting the knees drop together so they're propping each other up. You might like to have your hands out to the side with the palms up. You might find it more comforting to rest your hands on your body. So really find a relaxation pose that is working for you. And that may not be the same every time. There may be some weeks where you're quite happy in traditional Shavasana. There's other weeks where you might feel that you wanted to be a bit more supported with the knees up. So find your way into whatever Shavasana is working for you today. And then once you're there, just take a few deep breaths. Inhaling, bringing in energy, bringing in acceptance, bringing in love, faith, trust. And as you exhale, just really letting go of tension, tightness, both physical, but also mental and emotional. And just really letting go of anything negative in your life, letting go of any doubts or any worries, any irritations, any frustrations. We're just doing that a few times, breathing in deeply, breathing in acceptance and light and hope, and letting go of frustration, tension, tightness. And then after a while, you can just allow yourself to be, to let the breath come back to its natural rhythm, to let the body just sink into the floor, to let go completely, relax completely.